Good morning, my friends. Happy Sunday and welcome to New Game Sunday. It's Myst III Exile, and I am really looking forward to this one. We finished off Riven last week. We did a couple of the alternative endings, the not so great outcome endings, including getting one of those before we got the correct ending of the game. We got the Gen shoots you ending as our first ending. Hopefully we'll do better with this game. So, a little bit of admin. First of all, if you are watching on YouTube in the future and you want to skip straight to the gameplay, go to this time code up here, which I will put into the edit, because first of all we're going to do a little bit of a recap of the story of Myst and Riven, and I'm going to take us through some pages of the instruction manual, which I've gone and found. In the chat today, we have Spiper, good morning to you. We have Palm Trees 44, good morning to you. And we have Amachamak, good morning, day or evening to you. I hope you're all having a great Sunday. The other big piece of news is, so every year, my friends and I, we have a pre-Christmas Christmas celebration, which we call Friendsmas. And it's one of the most wonderful times of the year because all of the friendship group tend to go off flying around the world to visit their parents' families and so forth. And so the actual Christmas holiday period is incredibly busy. So we tend to meet up and we have a Christmas celebration a few weeks early. It's basically kind of like a sort of unofficial Thanksgiving, but obviously in the country that I live in, we don't actually celebrate Thanksgiving over here. And we exchanged presents a few weeks early. And I got Book of Atrus, which I have just started this morning, and so yeah, I'm super hyped to start reading this. This is pretty awesome, and I tell you what, right? I'm only in the prologue, but I'm starting to already get a bit of a sense as to how Gen maybe became a bit of a wrong'un, because literally, he's in the middle of burying his wife. And his mother is giving him, like, nonsense about, like, not looking after his child and stuff. And it's a bit like, I think this guy might be in the emotional phase right now, rather than the logistical phase. So perhaps that sort of factors into it a little bit. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading that. So that's going to be really nice. Okay, so to give you guys a bit of a recap for those of you joining for the first episode of Myst III. In Myst, we are on we're on an island. We don't know who we are. We don't know how we got there. And we've got some books talking to us, trying to get some pages. This is sort of the introduction to the linking books. And we're going off to the various ages of Myst, recovering books. But actually, it all turns out to be a bit of a ruse by the children of Atrus, who himself has been in prison this whole time, and we go and free him. The story of Myst is pretty light. It's puzzle heavy, story light. Okay. In Riven, Atrus has sent us to Riven to go and trap his father, Gen, who has been using linking books to be posing as a deity figure amongst the locals. And Riven itself is falling apart, and Atrus is trying to save his wife, Catherine, and to save the people of Riven, ideally, because Riven is falling apart because of Gen's poor writing style. In the end, we have saved the people of Riven, we've saved Atrus, we've saved Catherine, and Atrus and Catherine have gone back to Denis. And we have fallen into the starry fissure. Who knows where we're going to end up? Maybe back where we came from. Now, we did get one very helpful comment in the YouTube comment section to give us a little bit of preamble. Hopefully you guys can read that okay. I appreciate it's a little bit wide. So the Book of Denis takes place between Riven and Myst III. Myst III's premise is not going to make much sense without knowing a little about the book first. Going to explain the relevant parts below, so novel spoilers. This is from S8488, so thank you for giving us a little bit of a prologue here. But after the events of Riven, Atrus and Catherine regain access to the Denis caverns, decide to explore old Denis ages looking for survivors of the civilization's collapse. They eventually do find survivors across the various ages and convince them to join together and found a new Denis civilization. Basically, Denis has transitioned from collapse to recovering. Now, I've also found some relevant pages of the instruction manual, so shout out to replacementdocs.com for diligently archiving a lot of these things, because when you buy games digitally on platforms like Steam, you don't get a copy of the instruction manual, which is genuinely a bit of a problem for some of these old games. So our new policy is we go and we find the instruction manual for these games before we start playing them, because we got incredibly stuck. I don't remember whether it was Obsidian. I think it was Obsidian. We got really stuck in Obsidian because there's a clue in the instruction manual for essentially the first puzzle of the game. So various items can be found along the quest. There are books, journals, and some are just sheets of paper with a symbol on it. These are the names of each item from left to right. So we have an exhaustive list of items that we're expecting to collect throughout the game. That's kind of good to know. There is a prologue from Atrus, which says, I realized as our group linked back to Denis that we should not restore the city as we had planned. Sorry that it's a little bit blurry. The scan is a little bit low res. The once magnificent buildings lay in ruin, a testament to the hatred that had consumed them. Too many people had fallen victim to that hate, to the prejudice and greed from which it sprang. Gazing out across the cavern, I decided to write another age, one that would help the Denis survivors begin again, free from the tragedies of their past. So with my wife Catherine supporting me, I put aside that past to write a future. More than a year has gone by since I finished writing. Ooh. It doesn't help that the lettering's a little bit blurry. Relishahan? I have a new daughter who I hope will someday link to the age with me. Well, let's hope you do better with your daughter than with your two sons. And as I imagine Yisha meeting the Denis, those brave men and women who are building a new life for themselves, I realise I've been given another chance as well, a chance to learn from my mistakes and leave the past behind me once and for all. And interestingly enough, the instruction manual also comes with puzzle hints, right? So in the back of the instruction manual, now this is the manual from the Xbox port of the game, was the one that I was able to find, in the back of the Xbox instruction manual was a whole bunch of puzzle hints, including a load of general hints, but also really specific hints about how to solve certain puzzles. So that's in there. So if we get furiously stuck, I think that will be our first port of call as the kind of official hints system. But obviously, as ever, we're going to try and play it without hints as best as possible. With that is the end of our hints. So welcome back to those people in YouTube who skipped ahead. We're gonna new game this. Now, the audio balance, as with any new game, the audio balance is going to need to be tweaking as we go through. So do let me know in the chat if it's too loud, too quiet, or whatever. But yeah, here we are. This apparently is the first Myst game that Robin Miller didn't do the music for. Well, in fact, Cyan.
I realized as our group linked back to Dunny that we should not restore the city as we had planned. The once magnificent buildings lay in ruin, testament to the hatred that had consumed them. Too many people had fallen victim to that hate, to the prejudice and greed from which it sprang. Gazing out across the cavern, I decided to write another age. One that would help the Dunny survivors begin again, free from the tragedies of their past.
So this is in fact the text of the prologue.
Supporting me, I put aside that past to write a future. More than a year has gone by since I finished writing Relishan. I have a new daughter, who I hope will someday link to the age with me. And as I imagine Yisha meeting the Dunny, those brave men and women who are building a new life for themselves, I realize I've been given another chance as well.
Ah, yeah.
A chance to learn from my mistakes and leave the past behind me once and for all.
Oh! Oh, we're getting the spicy music for this. Same guy who made the music for Mass Effect. Really, Jack Wall. Yes. I thought that name sounded familiar. Mass Effect soundtrack was a really great one.
Breathtaking, isn't it?
Oh! We can pan round.
We call it Tamana. We moved here after Atrus finished writing Relishan. He wanted us to have a new home too. I'm so glad to see you. I told Atrus our paths would cross again. He was just going to grab something for your trip to Relishan, so he shouldn't be terribly long. Unless he decides to check over the whole house first, which means he could be hours resetting all his padlocks. But I know he was looking forward to introducing you to the Dunny, so he shouldn't be terribly long. Why don't you wait in his study?
Okay. This is kind of crazy. I'm not really sure how they've done this, because you can effectively pan the integrated video around the screen. Yeah, that's really cool. So wait, is it the same video? It must be the same video shot from two different cameras. Interesting. Yeah, wait in his study. I'm not going to tell you where it is. I mean, this looks like a study. Oh, there's a book there. So that's Relishan. Okay. What do we got here? Yeah, I ain't touching that. That's the descriptive book. Oh, right, okay, fair enough. Yeah, I know. In how do you tell the difference between a descriptive book and a linking book? I know enough about these books now to know not to touch them without the appropriate context as to where they're going to take you.
Well, my friend.
Oh.
I see you found the Relishan book. Catherine tells me you've been here for some time. I'm sorry if I've kept you waiting. Since we'll be gone a few days, I needed to secure some of my things. And I also wanted to bring you this. It's a journal I kept while I was writing Relishan. I thought you might find it interesting to read about what I hope to achieve, compared to what the age truly is. Well, just let me get my keys to unlock Relishan and we'll be off.
Okay.
Oh, and I'm interested in hearing what you've been up to in recent months.
Oh no! Okay, so I think yeah, okay, I don't think there was any way to help Atrus put the fire out. I think we just have to chase after the guy. But we're going to warp to the same place that he just warped to. So the linking book will take us... The linking book will take us exactly to where that person was. I don't know how you chase after someone in a point-and-click adventure game, though, to be fair. I mean, I guess thematically, yeah, we chase after the guy. I presume there's no way to catch them up, though. Ah, it's locked. Well, they got us there. Right, so we need to get into this room somehow. First puzzle of the game. It's unclear to me. I don't know if it's... The hand. So the hand is always in the centre of the screen. Is there another way that we can move? Is there a different move mode? So we've added subtitles, which is good. Oh yeah, here's going to be a problem potentially, right? My monitor, it says, turn the contrast of your monitor up as high as it will go. If you can't see the symbol within the black square, turn the brightness of your monitor up until until it becomes visible. I don't know if this is like a CRT televisions versus modern day screens thing, but my monitor literally can't go up bright enough to be able to see what's in this box. So we might end up with some section of the game later where we literally can't see. So, I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But yeah. You can right-click to move the hand freely. Okay. Ah. Oh, but then it goes to... I see. Because it's not really clear what constitutes a clickable path and what... Yeah, okay. It's just something we'll have to get used to, I suppose. Oh, okay. So there's a purple one over in that direction, I guess. And we have a path over here. So descriptive books tend to be bigger when someone reminds the designers. Nice. I was thinking maybe more like, you know, symbols or something like that. Both the books we looked at were descriptive books, actually. The other one was for Riven. Yeah, I thought because it was the box with the line, which is 5 in Rivenese, and Riven is the 5th age. I thought it might be Riven, but it's kind of all staticky and stuff. So is that an immediate game over if you were to put your hand on the Riven descriptive book right now? Because that seems like something that would be an immediate game over, considering what happened to Riven. So we've got a giant tooth coming out of the ground there. We've got a ladder down here. Where is this going to take us? Ah, you're not actually even allowed to try linking there. Understood. Probably for the best, to be fair. We have a ladder there. So this game is another 3-year jump, I believe, from the previous game. What is that? Maybe it's just a little bit of the way the rope is. I don't know. I believe this was released in 2000, so we're sort of, for gaming history context there, we're sort of between Half-Life and Half-Life 2. Let me think. What other notable games came out in 2000? We're still pre-Morrowind. Oh, we can go up this ladder over here. So yeah, so fully realised open world RPGs haven't quite happened yet, really. Okay, so that's pointing to the green one. So we've got a green one, a red one, and a purple one. There's one over there, yeah, which is sort of notably... I'm assuming, I'm going to make the bold assumption that puzzles aren't going to transition literally between games. We're missing one there. So I'm assuming that this colour scheme not going to be related to the marbles puzzle in any way, and that actually you're not expected to have knowledge of Denis or Rivenese colour coding. How far is that turning each time? So it's 360 degrees each time. But then again, on the other hand, it is gradually opening a reflective mirror, which is reflecting from that, maybe? So the light coming out of that, I think, is potentially a misdirect. Jack Wall's music has a very different mood, especially in that there's music at all when we're just exploring like this. Yeah, I mean, at the moment I would say the music is very incidental and very light. You know, it's very light touch music. Jack Wall, though, yeah, I think you are right. He did do the Mass Effect soundtrack. I've listened to Mass Effect 2 and Mass Effect 3 a lot, for sure. We'll leave that light going. Oh no, yeah, no, it is putting light through there, and that's actually also putting light through here. So maybe we're just trying to get the light beam to go around the loop. That would be a pretty low stakes opening puzzle, which would be fitting for the first puzzle of the game. Mass Effect, though, do you remember the Mass Effect trailers? Because it was the Mass Effect trailers that first introduced me to a group called Two Steps from Hell, which seems to basically be a music ensemble company that specialises in making trailer music specifically. And I've heard their music cropping up all sorts of places nowadays. Wow, so we've got another... Oh, Whistling Rock. Interesting. So this is actually not just subtitles. This is what's the word? Like closed captions, which is great. It's like the first accessibility feature in any of these Myst games that we've seen so far. We'll explore down there in just a moment. I'm interested first in... Oh no, wait. Yes, I'm interested first in continuing around up the top here. So we've got another locked door with a 5-digit code. We lucked into that one, to be fair, because I wasn't necessarily intending on. Those look like bolts to me, not buttons. So we've lucked into realising that that's a keypad. This appears to be a collector for the light, potentially. Yeah, it looks very similar to the device that we were looking at over there. But other than that, this is a dead end, so that's fine. But yeah, Two Steps from Hell, like Heart of Courage, I've heard that crop up all over the place, including, like, they used it for... like the World Cup, like the Football World Cup at one point for the players walking out, which was really surreal because that's a piece of music I very much associate with Mass Effect 2, you know? Okay, we've got a door that opens, and a plant, and a switch. Okay, that's just the door closing behind us. Okay, interesting. What have we got here then? So that's a basic basic principle of moments, right? That you've got your force times the distance from the pivot point. But it's a nice practical demonstration of it, even if it is a little bit of a dark demonstration of it. I am assuming that's going to form part of a puzzle solution later, and the game is making an assumption that you don't necessarily have to know about moments. Okay, we've got a book, which we won't read just yet because we've not read Atrus's journal, but we've picked up a book. We should probably read Atrus's journal fairly soon. Usually I save it for the start of episode 2, because episode 1 you can have a good old explore, right? Blue crystals. We've got a pestle and mortar and what looks like a quill and ink setup, maybe? This looks like something out of Quern. Or maybe Quern taking inspiration from Myst III, more likely. Right, so well, that's a different sound, isn't it? So the white crystals can be used as a power source. I'm presuming that is what that is supposed to teach us. Slightly unclear what this is, but we can go around the back of it. That looks like a door, actually. Oh, it's an elevator. Bye! Maybe we should read the book, actually, because the... Oh no, we can now stand underneath the elevator, which gives us access to some things. Okay, right, so we've got another puzzle here. Hopefully we're not going to, like, get crushed by the elevator coming down. Interesting. Okay, so we've got a puzzle in here. I presume we can call the elevator back. Well, that's not the same animation in reverse. But that's okay. We can totally get in, though, and presumably close the door. Oh, and you can pull it from inside. That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. This place is illuminated with fire marbles, like The mighty tunnels. Oh, right. These fire marbles are a lot bigger than the ones we've previously seen, though, for sure. Yeah, I see. Okay. Let's read a bit of journal, yeah? Because I'm a little bit paranoid about like messing stuff up. Especially given that we've now found a second journal to read. So, given that advert break is about 25 minutes away, depending on how what's the opposite of taciturn? Verbose, I suppose, depending on how much Atrus has decided to write for us this time. This could take us up to the advert break. Okay, yeah, it's going to be a little while, so settle in, everyone. I do kind of like the implication. It's a little bit like, I don't know. It's a little bit like when someone hands you a link to their fan fiction, right, and asks you to read it. I love the way Atrus has incredible main character energy, because he basically turns up with his journal and he's like, I've been journaling for a bit. I think you'd probably find it really interesting. So yeah, here's this. Here's a book for you to read. Like, Atrus knows that he's the main character in his own story, right? Okay, let's have a read. I always feared this day would come. For years, Catherine and I have dreamed... I'm going to have to lean a little bit closer, actually, so I'm going to move my mic a little bit closer. I'm playing windowed, so this is actually quite small for me. It's smaller for me than it will be for you viewing it. Okay. I always feared this day would come. For years, Catherine and I have dreamt of restoring Denis. We have dedicated our lives to the task, taking it upon ourselves to locate the citizens of Denis and convince them to return to their ruined city and rebuild. Funny thing, Myst III and the other non-Cyan games started an unfortunate trend of us solving Atrus's problems for him. That didn't start in Myst III. I hate to tell you, Spiper, but Myst and Myst II, Riven, the sequel to Myst, are literally both us solving Atrus's problems for him in one way or another. Atrus is more management level, right? He's got problems which he needs to delegate out. Yeah, it's fine. He's a big picture guy. Our dream has become the dream of so many now, and the progress we have made towards achieving it is something of which we can all stand proud. But I know that it has been a mistake. The city of Denis should not be restored. It should stand forever in ruins as both a symbol of our past mistakes and a memorial to all those who lost their lives when Denis fell. The devastating events of recent months, the war on Terahi, and the death of Uta in particular, have driven this truth home to me quite forcefully. If we rebuild the city walls today, we are not giving approval to the very illness that Are we not giving approval to the very illness that destroyed our civilization in the first place? Are we not setting ourselves up to repeat that pattern again in future generations? I have put much thought into this tonight, and I have found only one solution. If we, the men and women who survived the downfall of Denis, are to thrive, then we must break the pattern of hatred which has destroyed so many lives. We must begin our civilization anew. And we can only do that if I write us a new age. I have spoken with Catherine about this and she agrees. I only hope the others will see it as well. Spiber writes in the chat, I consider Riven an exception since Atrus was at least helping by keeping the age from collapsing. Yeah, that's like, yeah, I suppose so. In Myst, well, Atrus didn't know we exist yet. No, we're solving his problems for him through our own initiative. Interesting view though this, because okay, so obviously the Denis civilization has collapsed. Atrus and Catherine wander around finding survivors from that collapse and bringing them to a new age. So Atrus has kind of de facto decided that he's the leader of the Denis now, I suppose. I guess something that I'm a little bit confused about lore-wise, and if someone in the comments, if someone in the chat today knows, or if someone in the comment section in the future knows, because I've been thinking about this. Gen and Gen's parents lived through the Denis collapse, right? Atrus was a child, or it happened directly after the collapse, or very soon after the collapse, because Atrus was born when Gen was like 19 years old, right? Artavelli in the chat, good morning to you. Atrus wasn't around yet, but he must have been born fairly soon after. But like the Denis, Gen learned how to write because he was an apprentice in the Writers Guild, right? And I believe that his father knew how to create ages. This is kind of one of the things that made me think that Gen and Atrus and Catherine were like Denis archaeologists rather than Denis survivors. Well, I know Catherine isn't. Catherine's Rivenese. But why is it a subject of debate amongst them whether you create ages when you write them or whether you just link to ages that already exist when you write them? Was that something that was a hot topic of debate amongst the Denis themselves when they were actually doing this? Because from Gen's diary, it kind of makes it sound like the writing guild was like a bit of an industry that was going on during the Denis civilization. So surely they must have had a view on whether they were creating ages or whether they were simply traveling to them. Because someone must fundamentally have like invented the idea of the art. I don't know. Leaping right into the lore. Yeah, indeed. He was a child apprenticed into the Paper Makers Guild. It was a long-standing debate amongst the Denis. Right, okay, except it wasn't really a debate. It was accepted that they were not. Right, okay. Oh, right, okay. It was accepted that they were not creating the worlds. Right, okay. And Gen is in disagreement with that point. Okay, interesting. Gen was a child, yes. Well, a youngster, presumably. I don't know. Well, I don't know how long a time period the collapse of the Denis civilization happened. Okay, next page. Will these people never cease to amaze me? I thought they would object to my decision. After all, most of them link back to Denis specifically to see the city rebuilt. But when I told them why we should not restore it, their response was immediate and unanimous, says Atrus's own journal. Whereas yesterday they thought only of rebuilding, today they concentrate solely on salvage. They intend to take from their ruined city only that which is best and move on. Everywhere I look, the enthusiasm for this new task is obvious. It heartens me even as I face my own monumental contribution. I have written many ages in my lifetime, from the first timid attempts under the tyrannical tutelage of my father to the most recent accomplishment, Averone. Never before has so much been riding on my skill. The age I am about to write must be all I ever imagined and more. How am I going to achieve it? This genuinely reads like if you've ever read a book with what's the word? When the author themselves can't actually be trusted to give a genuine accounting of events. It's got a particular name. I can't remember the name of it. It's a particular style of writing where you're supposed to be trying to indicate an unreliable narrator. Yes, that's it. Thank you very much, Spiper. This reads very much like an unreliable narrator, right? Because the way he's reporting how other people react to his plan is like sus. It's immediately sus. But I don't think that's the intention. Okay. Catherine laughed this morning when she saw me drudging out my old notebooks. I must have made quite the picture, sitting near the embers of a fire surrounded by countless commentaries and journals. Some of them seemed more dust than paper, but the hours I spent sifting through them was worth it. Ideas for what this new age might be are tumbling round in my head. There are almost too many to catch hold of. Obviously, I must choose some starting point as my anchor. Writing ages is a science, a precisely structured excavation of words. Equation of words, rather, sorry. Every equation needs as its foundation an underlying concept around which the age can develop. In the past, I've written many books around whatever idea intrigued me the most at the time. I wanted to discover how the age to which the book linked would manifest the results of that idea. Sometimes civilizations had arisen, sometimes they'd not, but whether a society had come to exist on the age or not, it was often in response to whatever concept the book I had written embodied. This time, my search for a concept must be weighed very carefully. I already have the civilization I wish to see develop. I know our history as a people and the paths we've followed to arrive here. Today I must write a book which will link to an age that will allow us to continue on our way, growing ever stronger as one people. What underlying concept must this new age reflect that will best allow our civilization to thrive? I fear I must think on this some more. It has taken me some time, but I may have found my anchor. It came to me as I was considering what I know about the survivors of Denis. We have seen so much tragedy in our lives, from the destruction of the city to the suffering and loss of our loved ones due to plague and deprivation. Yet even in the midst of these adversities, my kinsman and I have found the strength to keep going. We have tapped into our individual strengths and transformed ourselves into something much stronger. It is characteristic I have seen in several of my ages whenever I focused my writing on the inherent energy sources in a world. Long ago, grandmother taught me that if no life, no possibility for life in an age exists without the presence of energy. By tapping into its latent energy sources, an age moves out of stasis. It grows, transforms, and develops. Energy is the underlying fuel that powers all activity. Interesting. It is characteristic I have seen in several of my ages whenever I focus my writing on inherent energy sources. I don't quite fully understand what he means there, but okay. He needs energy sources in the age that he's writing, I think is basically what he's getting at. To put it more simply, energy powers future motion. Yet, as grandmother also liked to remind me, energy in an age takes on diverse forms. Each one has strengths and weaknesses of its own. How many forms will this new age contain? What type will be its dominant theme? Tomorrow I will link back to Myst, and from there revisit several of my ages. Perhaps in my old worlds I will discover new ideas. We need an underlying concept. How about the number 5? Yeah, lovely. I had almost forgotten how painful it is to revisit Myst. In the 10 years since my son Cirrus and Achenar left me trapped on Kavir Island and burned so many of my books, Catherine and I have rarely linked back. I told myself we were always too busy, first with writing ages like Averone, then with searching the ages of Denis for survivors. I always said we would spend more time on Myst eventually. The truth is, I have been avoiding the age. Seeing the island in its current condition ignites such anger and grief. I am immediately reminded of the betrayal of my sons, as well as the cruelty and greed with which they plundered my ages. I know I am partly responsible for these acts. I constantly wonder if there was something I could have done to reach out to the boys before. Enough! Nothing can change the tragedies of the past. Like my Denis kinsman, I must salvage what is best and move on. Perhaps in the process I will find forgiveness and hope. Yes, that's a very healthy way of dealing with that. Once again, I am back on Myst Island, having completed a lengthy sojourn through several of my ages. The trip itself was not as inspiring as I had hoped. The Selenitic age was especially disturbing, but has it not always been so? The very first time I linked to the age, its uninhabited landscape was shaking with tremors. At the time, I felt it was because the energy in the age was unfocused, as if it was at war with itself. Stability finally came, but even after it did, I never truly felt comfortable there. I missed the more natural balance of ages like Channelwood. Now, Selenitic, is that the sound, the audio puzzle age, the one with the train, I think. Channelwood is yes, brilliant. Thanks, Artavelli. Channelwood, we all know what Channelwood is. It's the swamp age. It's the treehouse age. Because it's the one that's in the wood. That's how I remember it. Perhaps that is the lesson to take home with me. The Denis too have faced much turmoil in their history. Their lives have been unsettled enough. Perhaps I should be striving to offset the energy that already exists within our civilization by providing it with a more stabilized environment in which to grow. An environment in which the natural equilibrium of the world serves as a counterpoint to the upheavals of civilization. The more I consider it, the more I wonder if I should make nature the foundation of this new age. Worlds like Channelwood attain equilibrium quite easily, primarily because of one reason. Nature encourages mutual dependence. As one life withers and dies, it provides nourishment so that another might live. Plants become food for other animals, and the waste products animals cannot absorb become nutrients to sustain other plants. So long as nothing intrudes to upset this balance, nature can maintain itself indefinitely. An interesting metaphor to set as an example for my people. I think I will confer with Catherine on this subject. Her ages always exhibit symbiosis more dramatically than mine. Perhaps she should help me write this new age. Have we been to an age that Catherine has written? I believe all the ages of Myst were written by Atrus, I think. So I don't think we've been to any of Catherine's ages yet, but it's interesting. Interesting foreshadowing, perhaps, of some of the ages that we'll visit. Oh, Catherine wrote Myst. And Catherine wrote Tay. Quite right. The Moiety escape hatch. Yeah, good point. I am so tired I can barely think right now, but I will force myself to stay focused, for I have not written anything in days. The moment I linked back to Denis, I was besieged with requests for my assistance. Master Taman wanted to consult over which stone cutters were worth salvaging, and did I think the rock in this new age would be difficult to sound? Omar and Exile needed my opinion about a new history they'd uncovered. Should they hold off on starting its translation, or would paper supplies be scarce in the new age? There were so many questions needing answered, I barely had time to see Catherine. She, of course, laughed at my dilemma, saying I had no one to blame but myself. After all, I was the one who encouraged the Denis to start over. Naturally, they would look to me to keep them moving in the right direction, unless some other force stepped in to change that view. Her words made me realize a fundamental principle I had thus far been ignoring. All this time I have been debating whether to make energy or nature the underlying framework for this age, but there is another equation to consider. An age based solely on the future motion of energy will face constant upheavals, most likely at the cost of tranquility, and an age based solely on the mutual dependence of nature can become so balanced over time it may cease to tolerate change. Yet to continue to grow as a people, Denis civilization needs both, occasional upheavals followed by periods of balanced stability. I have seen such situations occur naturally on several of my ages. Each time it was because I centered the writing around some dynamic force that I had decided to make prevalent in the age. Such forces allow the balance between forward motion and mutual dependence to fluctuate. As one concept takes precedence, the other recedes until another force surfaces to change things. As Catherine's insightful comment reminded me, dynamic forces spur change. I am too tired to think more on this tonight. Hopefully in the morning my thoughts will coalesce. Reminds me very much actually of... take a quick drink of water. Reminds me very much of... There's a biologist named Steve Jones, which is a very common name, unfortunately, but he wrote Bully for Brontosaurus, is probably his most famous book that he wrote, one of his early ones, and he also wrote The Single Helix, which was a collection of his essays. And I believe Steve Jones is credited with the discovery or the development of the theory of punctuated equilibrium, which is basically what this is describing, except in evolutionary terms. That you have periods of slow evolutionary progress, but then in response to some big semi-cataclysmic event, you see a sudden step change in evolutionary process. Of course, the process itself is not, actually faster. It's more the case of survivorship bias. But if you're interested in reading, now I don't know, to be fair, I don't really know how up to date that work is, because obviously I was reading those books like 20 years ago, and at the time they were 20 years old. So the world might have moved on since then, because, I can't necessarily recommend a science book from 40 years ago as being up to date still, but I found them good books anyway. Okay. How far away from an ad? We're 3 minutes away from an ad, so I'll read a couple more entries and then we're going to be taking an ad break. Catherine surprised me today. Apparently, whilst I was off visiting the ages, she linked to Myst by herself. She did not say so, but I could tell that her visit had been painful. More than ever now, I am convinced we must find a place to begin again ourselves. Perhaps when I have written this new age for the Denis, I will put some thought into where Catherine and I might live. I cannot believe I didn't see it before. All this time I have been struggling to describe the perfect age for the Denis. I have considered and then rejected several underlying concepts which I felt might best set the course for their future, as if I alone should determine how the Denis civilization would grow. In my own way, I have become as egotistical as my father. In truth, I owe this realization to Catherine. Sensing my indecision about the new age, she led me on a walk around Denis. Salvaging efforts were well underway, with teams of people scouring the ruined harbour district. As I watched my Denis kinsmen deciding which parts of their culture to retain, I realized they do not need me to determine their future. They are quite capable of setting its course by themselves, regardless of what age I write. This realization has opened my eyes to the best way of approaching my task. I no longer need to worry about which underlying concept, energy, nature, or dynamic forces I should make prevalent in the age. Rather, I must strive to include them all. I must write a balance of systems into the descriptive book, enough so that the Denis people will constantly be challenged to attain their ultimate potential. As grandmother often pointed out to me when we spoke about ages back on Myst, balanced systems stimulate civilizations. At last I feel I am ready to begin writing this age. Indeed, I am eager to begin and have already come up with the perfect name. I know grandmother would have loved it. Of course, Catherine could tell the moment I turned to her that I had finally found my starting point. Blabbed on excitedly for some time before I noticed the smile she was hiding. When I saw it enough to grow suspicious, she handed me one of my oldest age books. She must have picked it up when she linked back to Myst, seeing the name Janainin emblazoned on the book cover. I could only shake my head. The one age I never got round to revisiting was the one that might have helped me the most. How foolish was I to have completely forgotten it. I think after I've finished this work I should take one final trip, if only to help restore an old fool's memories. Oh, this is the last page. Okay. We probably could have smashed that out before the break, to be honest. We've got a second book to read, of course, though, right? Right, so, Janain, emblazoned on the book cover. The one age I never got round to revisiting was the one that might have helped me the most. Okay, interesting. This book, then, interesting cover, leaf emblazoned on the front. How many pages do we have here? This is more like a folder. This is more like a folder than a book, right? These appear to be loose leaves. I have done it. Oh, we also don't know who this is written by either. I have done it. It's different handwriting to Atrus, so we're going to assume it's not him. I have used his swirling, linking book to follow him. I touched my palm to its glowing panel and felt the tingling begin. There was a sudden sickening lurch inside my stomach, then I fell into the page. This has happened before, I know it. It happened the first time I came to this place, when I followed his murdering sons from Narayan. It happened when I used his hidden books, and it happened when I finally opened the machine, right before the fog first ate my mind. The fog didn't find me this time. When I opened my eyes, I was alone in a room. I was standing in the home of my betrayers. I couldn't move. I was afraid. I thought they'd know that I had come and would be waiting for me, just like they'd waited inside this very tusk. Phil C 2020. Afternoon, guys. New game. Yeah, we're playing Myst 3. Good to see you in the chat, Phil. Hope you're having a great Sunday. Hope you're having a great weekend. So, Tusk. We've been seeing tusks around this island, right? So, this might literally be the guy we were chasing at the start. Not necessarily. Might be like a group of them. I was afraid they would tie me up again, that the poison snakes would strike. But the silence was unbroken, the whole house was still, and without really knowing what I did, I started to search. Every room, every floor, every cabinet, I found his journals. Atrus, never-ending journals. I found the book that brought me back to this world, the lesson world he calls Jananin. Oh, Tamra, my love, how long have I been trapped here? How much of my life has been eaten by the fog? The face I see in the lagoon isn't one I remember ever wearing. It's much older, so much more savage. But it is me, it is Saavedro, and I remember what they did, how they led my people to death. I have returned several times now to Tomahana. I am searching for some signs of his sons. I was certain they would run back to their father, but so much time has passed, so many years in which to forget about my people. Is that what happened, Atrus? Safe in your beautiful new home, enjoying life with your dear wife and family? Did you become so busy envisaging new worlds that you forgot the ones you had already created? I must be very careful. I must not let them know that I am free. I will read what journals I can find to figure out where his two sons are hiding, and when I've found the sons again, when they've got the whole family together, I'll bring them down. Atrus and his family will suffer the way I have suffered for years. Cirrus and Akanar are not in Tomahana. Every day I become more and more convinced Atrus' sons are not there. What happened, Atrus? Did you grow tired of them the way you grew tired of Narayan? Did you abandon them the way you abandoned my people behind your shield? It does not matter if I can still take revenge against their father now that I am no longer stuck on Janin. I can avenge all the dead in my world. I have already reopened his other books. I have begun making changes in those worlds, using his own lessons against him. There is still much more work to be done, but eventually I will lure him into this tusk. I will find some way to make him follow me here from Tomahana. For now, I will concentrate on the Orbiter. It is not a natural part of this world. The material that created it is like nothing I've seen. It reminds me just a little of the shield, and if it's the same material, can't be damaged. But perhaps I can damage the other devices. Interesting. So we've got some diagrams here, which will probably be useful. No, it cannot be true. Surely his journals deceive me. He says he's brought them back. He says he's given his Denis brethren new life. But how? How can one man have so much power? How can one man's writings reawaken a dead world? I don't know what this means. By all that is sacred Tamra, what can it mean? It doesn't change a thing. I can still continue as planned. I can still seek revenge for my people. I will suffer my enemy. I will make my enemies suffer by the weaving, Tamra. This changes everything. I have found a way to reprogram his scanning device. It requires scavenging parts from other mechanisms in the tusk, but I think the gears I leave can still be operated by hand. And that's a handy diagram for the puzzle that we found earlier. Not sure what that's a picture of. It is finished. All is ready for Atrus' arrival. Tonight I will sleep among the ghosts. Then tomorrow I will link into Tomahana. When I link out, I'll be carrying his book. May the spirits of my people serve to guide me in this. So it is indeed the person that went and stole the book. We've also got some interesting numbering system cropping up here. So we have got a little tree with inward facing branches, a little tree with inward facing branches, and then a stick, second stick and one branch. Then we're covering the tree, but we are changing. We're taking off this branch here and adding a branch there. Yeah, okay. There's a pattern to it, for sure, which we'll probably need a bit of consideration for later. Tomanar. Excellent. Good, thanks for that. The pronunciations are a little bit out there in places, aren't they? Okay, so we have got a way that we can make progress at the bottom of that lift, because he's pointed us towards that. We've also got another path this way. Okay. Yes, with more ladders. Wait, where did I go there? That wasn't exactly where I meant to... What? What is this? It's a sound amplifier. To be fair, the subtitles are pretty useful for that. whatever that puzzle's going to involve. We've got it's clearly like a thing here, like a glass orb of some kind. Does that make a noise? We can't quite turn it round enough to actually see it. Okay. Wait a minute. Wait. So we've just come up from that direction. There's a door there. Sorry, have I got myself turned around? No, I've got myself turned around, have I? No, yeah, that's where I've just come up from. And there are two bridges. Right, there are two bridges. Probably this way then, because we've been going round the island clockwise. So we have been going around this ridge here, then we came down, now we're up, right? So we've been to that tusk over there. Let's check it out from the other direction, just so that we don't get turned around and lost in here. Okay, this thing we can... Oof. Yep, straight in the face. And we've got the red one here. Nope. I think we're pretty close to having all of these lined up now, actually, because that should be... Oops, no, accidentally hit the... That should be pointing now to the other one, because I think we've aligned them all? Maybe. So wait, if I look into this from the other direction... Ah, do you know what? Maybe I'm not fully understanding this one. No. Yeah. Okay. I think we need to get the light beam going round. I hadn't realised that we can look through any of the three faces. But I think what these are doing is we're basically making a pentagon using three... No, it'd need to be a hexagon, wouldn't it? If you have mirrors which are 120 degrees each, so 3 lenses, we're making a hexagon, I think, to get all of the light going round in a circle. But if that's the case, do I want it pointing... No, I think that's okay. We don't need to worry about 5 anymore. Yeah, 72 degrees, genuinely terrible. Terrible number. Hated it. I tell you what though, really bold to have a point and click adventure game where a significant number of the rooms have 5 sides to them. Brilliant. Wait, that's pointing it off in the wrong direction now. We need it to be facing in our face, yeah, because we're in the way of the next one that's going. So we're in the way of that one now. So yeah, we want it to... We'll rotate this and we'll get the light in our face here. And that should be... That might be like all of it connected up now. Maybe, I don't know. Oh, we can go down here. Oh, we did see a path over here, didn't we? Right. Okay, okay. That didn't really register me as a path from this direction, but yeah, okay. We've obviously been here. And that's pointing to that one already, which is all fine and good. It's that way, isn't it? Down here and up this one. So then... Wait, hang on. This is going... I think I've kind of maybe not got these going in the correct direction. Wait. So the light's coming out this way. Oh, and this is shining in this direction. Oh, have I got them going the wrong way round? So it's coming in there and it's going out towards the blue. So then when I go to the blue, so the light's coming out of that. Maybe I got them going the wrong way. So the blue points to the red. And the red goes and points to the purple, is sort of my intention. But the blue's not... it's not really the correct angle, actually, is it? Maybe the blue can't point to the red. Wait, where does the blue point to? Oh, it's not pointing to anything. Well, that's no good. So that's not going to point to anything there. So now it's going to point to the green. So you've got to take the green, you've got to point that to something else. Okay, cool. Yeah, we can get back round to the green one. So through here, up, up. So that's the purple one. That's the yellow. So if we go this way... No, that's the red one. Ah, that's the green one, right. So the green one's already pointing to the red one. Wait, hang on. So if I look through here, yeah. So the green one's already pointing to the red one. The red one is pointing to the yellow one. So that's already pointing to the correct location there. The yellow one should be over here now, yeah? So the yellow one's pointing to the purple one. And the purple one's pointing to the red one. Okay. Maybe I'm making a little bit more of a meal out of this puzzle than it needs to be, because... Oh shoot, now I got myself turned around. Wait. How do I get back out to where I was? It's not down there. It's down here. Right, it's down here on the other side of the purple one. So the purple one's pointing to the red one, so that's fine. And now the red one... So that's... Yeah, right. So that's pointing to the thing we're trying to open. So we've done it. We've solved the puzzle. We've solved the puzzle already. Good. So let's not touch any of that. So if we go over here then, which was down and then up. So this is already open. Hey! Alright. What's the order of the buttons? Wait, is it literally the order that we went through? So we did the red one last, and it was the purple pointing to the red one. I think the first one was blue. Oh man, proper memory exercise now. No, the first one's yellow. The first one's yellow, and the yellow points to blue. Right, so let's try that out. So the first one's yellow, and yellow pointed to blue. And then we must have done like green, purple, red. Oh. Wait. Was it yellow, blue, green? No. We definitely ended on red, didn't we? I mean, to be fair, there's no guarantee that that's actually the that it's the order of the things anyway, right? But okay. Fair enough. Right. Background. So it's definitely yellow to blue. And blue was to green. Blue was to green, and red is definitely the final one. And purple's penultimate to red. Wait, there's two yellow ones. Oh, there's two yellow ones. Right, okay. Yeah, we weren't really paying attention to that fact, were we? So it's yellow, blue, green. Wait. Yellow, blue, green, red, yellow, purple, red. Yellow, blue, green, red, yellow, purple, red. Shoot, I should write that down. Hang on. There is zero chance I'm going to remember that. Wait. So yellow went to purple. Right, hang on a minute. So, it's yellow, blue, green, at the end it goes... Okay, at the end it's going red, purple, yellow. Right, so that's this yellow here. Fine. So that's the green and that's the red. I think that's the code. Yellow, blue, green, red, yellow, purple, red. That's what I'm thinking anyway. We could get there slightly faster that way, maybe. Yep, other door. Travelling very quickly through there, it kind of looked like there was an extra switch, maybe, which we've not looked at before. Yeah, interesting island. Wonder what Atrus was going for. Yeah. The dome puzzle in Riven didn't use yellow, so they had to compensate. Right, yellow, blue, green, red, yellow, purple, red. There we go. Nice. Brilliant. First puzzle of the game solved. But that, my friends, is going to wrap us up for today. We are out of time for this morning, but there we go. First session of Myst 3. We've done a bit of backstory. We've read Atrus's journal. We've found the journal for this other guy. We've also, from this the thief's journal, we have a very strong idea where we're going to go in terms of the elevator puzzle. We can also ride the elevator up as well, which we've not explored yet. And we have a new room in here to go and explore. So looking forward to episode 2. That's going to be next Sunday, of course. And yeah, if you are on YouTube in the future, I hope you enjoyed this episode 1 of Myst 3. If you did, consider hitting that like, hitting that subscribe, and consider joining the Discord, because it's great fun. I will see you guys soon on YouTube. Bye for now. Have a great week. For those of us staying on Twitch, let's go and have a look and see who is online. Usually Cozy is online at this time of day.